Hello, YouTubers. It's your average Joe from the Bipartisan Guy. Hey, today I wanted to talk a little bit about the Bill of Rights and who they belong to. They don't belong to the government. They're known as the people's rights. Those rights are the rights of the people, and we need to stand up for them. James Madison and other supporters of the Constitution argued at first that a Bill of Rights wasn't necessary. They felt the government could only exert the powers specified by the Constitution and the 7 articles written within. It was a Virginia state leader, George Mason, one of 3 delegates out of 45 present on the final day of the Constitution Convention in 1787, who refused to sign the Constitution because it lacked a Bill of Rights. Mason, along with other anti-federalists, opposed the newly proposed federal government, nearly derailing ratification of the Constitution in Virginia. Mason had authored the Virginia Declaration of Rights in June of 1776, right before the Declaration of Independence. He believed that the Constitution as drafted gave too much power to a central government and little power in return to the people. He argued the document was in need of a Bill of Rights that would guarantee individual liberty for the citizenry. The Massachusetts Declaration of Rights, which protected various rights for its citizens, had already been adopted into the Massachusetts Constitution. It was first drafted by John Adams in 1780. These arguments forced Madison, along with others, to agree to consider adding amendments. After some debate, a deal was struck by both sides to adopt suggestions for writing protections of individual rights when the first Congress convened. James Madison began working on drafting legislation that would eventually become what we know today as the Bill of Rights. He would lean heavily on George Mason and John Adams and their earlier work. However, due to delays in members arriving to the first Congress, a quorum for both the House and Senate was not reached until April 6 of 1789. At first, few members of the first Congress wanted to make amending the new Constitution a priority, but Madison, once one of the most vocal opponents of the Bill of Rights, had come to appreciate the importance of individual rights and protections, and he thought by enshrining them in the Constitution, it would educate people about their rights. Madison introduced a list of amendments to the Constitution on June 8, 1789. Madison's proposals were designed to win support in both houses of Congress and the states. He focused on rights-related language, while ignoring suggestions that would have structurally changed the government. He hounded his colleagues relentlessly to secure the passage of his proposed amendments. The House passed a joint resolution containing 17 amendments based on Madison's proposals. The Senate changed the joint resolution to consist of 12 amendments. Then a joint House and Senate conference committee settled remaining disagreements in September, and on October 2, 1789, President Washington sent copies of the 12 amendments adopted by Congress to the states. And by December 15th of 1791, 3/4 of the states had ratified 10 of these amendments, now known as the Bill of Rights, or the People's Rights. So, this current administration wants to degrade those rights. And in fact, they've gone so far as to think that those rights belong to them. And they don't. They belong to the people. And it's important, as the citizens of this nation, that we be educated on what those 10 rights are, because they are by far the most important 10 amendments written in the Constitution. And I might add that those 10 amendments is proof that the Constitution was written as a living document, for those who want to argue that it wasn't. So the argument was simply that the Constitution gave the central government all the rights and next to none for the people. So I encourage everybody to learn the Bill of Rights, otherwise known as the People's Rights. And those rights are designed for the citizenry to be able to stand up to the central government and say, no, that's in violation of my right. As we go on, we'll talk a little bit about what each right is enshrined and the history on it. For those of you that aren't that familiar with the Bill of Rights, I encourage you to read through a brief breakdown on the link I will leave below in the description. To know your rights is important, and to exercise them is even more important. And without exercising them, you will lose them, especially in today's administration, who is continuously trying to take the rights away from the people. And the only way to fight back is to know what your rights are. So I hope everybody takes a look. Appreciate your watching our channel. If you like what we have to offer, hit like, subscribe, and the alert bells. Until then, feel free to leave a comment, and let's get this discussion about the Bill of Rights open up for a healthy conversation. Until then, stay bipartisan. Peace out.